Hello everyone. Today I want to make a case for something that I think represents one of the most significant shifts in how we understand human health over the past 2 decades, and one that is still not reflected in the way most people think about their gut. The gut is not a digestive organ, it is a regulatory organ. It does not simply process food and eliminate waste. It regulates immune function, produces and modulates the neurotransmitters that govern mood and cognition, controls the hormonal environment that shapes metabolic function, calibrates the inflammatory tone of the entire body, and maintains a communication network with the brain so continuous and so high volume that calling it a digestive system fundamentally undersells what it actually is. Let me start with the immune system, because this is the most direct and least disputed extension of gut function beyond digestion. Approximately 70% of the body's immune tissue is located in or directly adjacent to the gut, in structures called Peyer's patches, in the lamina propria beneath the intestinal epithelium, and in the mesenteric lymph nodes that sample the gut contents continuously. This concentration of immune tissue is not accidental. The gut is the primary interface between the external environment, everything you eat, drink, and ingest, and the internal body. The immune system needs to be there to make continuous decisions about what to tolerate and what to respond to. In a healthy gut, this immune system is precisely calibrated. It learns to tolerate food proteins, beneficial bacteria, and harmless environmental compounds while maintaining readiness to respond to genuine pathogens. This tolerance is not passive, it is actively maintained by the microbiome through the production of short-chain fatty acids, regulatory T-cell stimulation, and the maintenance of the gut barrier that prevents inappropriate antigen exposure. The second extension is the skin, and the gut-skin axis is one of the most clinically relevant connections that dermatology has been slow to incorporate into mainstream practice. The skin and the gut share developmental origins, share immune cell populations, and communicate through shared inflammatory pathways, shared hormonal signals, and the systemic circulation that connects them. When the gut barrier is compromised and bacterial byproducts enter systemic circulation, those compounds activate immune responses that manifest at the skin surface as acne, eczema, rosacea, and psoriasis, conditions that are typically treated topically without addressing the gut environment that is generating the inflammatory signal. According to research, the microbial composition of the skin is directly influenced by the gut microbiome through systemic immune modulation, meaning that what lives in your gut partially determines what lives on your skin and how your skin immune system responds to it. In one study, oral probiotic supplementation targeting gut microbiome composition produced measurable improvements in acne severity, skin barrier function, and sebum composition, without any topical intervention. The gut changed. The skin responded. The topical treatment was never part of the equation. This is not an exotic finding. It is a reproducible one, and it represents a category of skin conditions that are routinely managed at the surface while their actual driver remains unaddressed, one organ deeper. The third extension is cardiovascular health, and this connection is one that has emerged from gut microbiome research in ways that fundamentally alter the risk factor conversation. The gut microbiome produces a compound called trimethylamine or TMA, primarily from the metabolism of choline and carnitine, nutrients found in red meat, eggs, and fish. TMA is absorbed from the gut and converted by the liver to trimethylamine oxide, or TMAOA, a compound that the cardiovascular research literature has linked to accelerated atherosclerosis, increased platelet aggregation, and elevated cardiovascular event risk. The fourth extension is mental health, and I want to approach this not as a speculative or alternative health claim but as an area of established and growing neuroscience that has direct practical implications. The gut produces or regulates the production of virtually every major neurotransmitter class in the body. Approximately 90% of the body's serotonin is produced in the gut, 50% of its dopamine. Significant proportions of GABA, glutamate, and norepinephrine are either produced in the gut or influenced by gut bacterial metabolites. The fifth extension is metabolic health, and specifically the role of the gut microbiome in determining individual metabolic responses to food in ways that make population-level dietary guidelines almost meaningless at the individual level. As I have touched on in previous videos, two individuals consuming identical diets can produce entirely different metabolic outcomes based on their gut microbiome composition. Glucose responses, inflammatory load, fat storage efficiency, insulin sensitivity, and energy harvest from fermentable carbohydrates are all influenced by the specific bacterial populations present and their metabolic activities. The gut is not passively observing your metabolism. It is actively shaping it, and the shaping is highly individual. Here is what I want you to take from all of this. Every time you experience a symptom that has nothing obviously to do with digestion, a skin flare, a mood episode, an afternoon of cognitive fog, a persistent low-grade anxiety, a blood pressure reading that surprises your doctor, the gut is worth including in the conversation. Not because the gut causes everything, but because it regulates so much that when it is compromised, the disruption surfaces in so many different places simultaneously that the pattern can look like multiple separate problems when it is actually one shared upstream variable. The gut is not a digestive organ that also happens to affect other things. It is a regulatory system that digestion is only one function of, and treating it as the former, while it is actually doing the latter, is why so much of what we experience as chronic, unexplained, disconnected, ill health remains exactly that, unexplained and disconnected. I hope this gave you a genuinely broader picture of what gut health actually means. Drop a comment and tell me which connection surprised you most. I read everything. If this was useful, hit the like button and share it with someone whose unexplained symptoms deserve a gut-level conversation. And if you are new to Nutriflow, subscribe and hit the bell. This is exactly the kind of content we make here. See you in the next one.